silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of everything. Recently, I found a study that says that around 1/3 of people are at risk of smartphone addiction. When I started looking into the topic, I wondered, at what point can we say that we're addicted? What the line not to cross that changes from a simple user to addict? And I found this. I'm gonna make it simple. But according to experts, if you answer yes to more of 3 of these questions, you might have what they call a problematic smartphone use. And to be honest, here's what I would have answered 2 years back. Shit. Welcome to the club, girl. Hi, my name is Laureline. I'm not a superhuman. I'm not a productivity icon either. I'm just a designer passionate about cognitive psychology. And one day, I just realized that something went wrong with my screen time. And since then, I'm trying to explore new ways to better screen time. I think that screen time and digital minimalism are such exciting topics that I can't be the only one interested. In any case, thank you to everyone who joins me for your comments, your feedback. It really makes me happy. So thanks. To be honest, my phone is my daily life. From the moment I wake up until I go to sleep, it helps me in 100 of ways. And I must admit, if they were to disappear, I would be almost incapable doing more than half of actions in my daily life. How to get somewhere without a GPS. How to boil this egg. I think I depend on smartphone a lot, so can I say that I'm addicted to it? According to Serge Tisserand, a PhD in psychology, being dependent isn't the real problem. It's more the obsession over specific apps that is problematic. If you use your smartphone for various purposes, there is no problem. What's problematic is the obsession with one application. Serge Tisserand explains that being obsessed with certain apps is putting them in the forefront, prioritizing them over mental or physical health. One of the symptoms of this is the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Thing is that for years I totally let my phone dictate some of my behaviors, things I should watch, wear, or even eat. And I might not be the only one. I found a report that said that 40% of millennials are choosing their holiday destination based on how Instagrammable it will be. Yeah, so the real question is, why are we obsessed so much on certain apps? The third thing that explains our addictions to this is the reactions it triggers in our brains. Tristan Harris, an expert in phone addictions, explained that our phone has the same effect on our brain as slot machines in a casino. Basically, every notification, buzz, message tells us something is happening. But as we don't know yet what it is, it simply excites us and creates a stimulus in our brain that releases hormones, and one especially called dopamine. Not a big deal, but here's the thing. Our brain quickly gets used to dopamine. The more it released, the more the brain wants it, and the more often it has to be. And the big test companies understand it as well. When Tristan Harris warned about these negative effects, most people inside the company sympathized and agreed. When he suggested alternatives, people changed the subject. That said all. Today, every service we use on our phone is actually a company fighting against others to capture some of our time and attention. And to catch us, they will use every trick they can. In other words, our attentions fuel that growth, and they have no plans to stop. Addictive but design.
So there's an asymmetry between the knowledge that the persuaders have and the knowledge the persuadee has, okay? Second one is that the goals of the persuader are different than the goals of the persuadee. So when the people who make Snapchat do this, their actual goal is how can I hook you to use the product every day? Because that works really well. Like the streaks feature is super addictive. The persuader's goal has become the persuadee's goal, and now they define their friendship based on whether or not they're able to keep up their streaks, and if they don't have their streak, they're no longer best friends.
Streak on Snapchat, short, content that loop, autoplay, infinite scroll, recommendation. There are a lot of features. I long thought that they were here to make my experience richer, bring me joy, or do me a favor, or even connect me more with people I care about. But no, they were mostly manipulating me to consume more. These sites and apps are designed to train our minds to crave frequent whirras. They make us eager for hurts and likes. But how come? I was confused because I didn't see this mechanism before and I felt duped. So I wanted to change, to be less naive. Truth is that it was more darker than I thought. Justin Harris explained that in reality, the design of these services follows the same functioning as a magic trick. They hijack our brains by exploiting no flaws. Magic works because magicians don't have to know your strengths, they just have to know your weaknesses. And if people did know their weaknesses, he said, then magic wouldn't work. And to be honest, as a designer, it touched me as more. Thing is, we always have this duality within us. On one hand, we have to meet business objectives, and on the other, we design things that users want. And the limit of your ethic is very thin. How much are you willing to satisfy businesses versus the well-being of people? It's really not easy. And Tristan Harris explains this too. When you're caught up in your work, you don't see the harm you can do. All you see is how much joy and how easy it can make your user's life. But you can't see the derivatives or about what bad thing companies can make with your design. Think about Azar Ruskin. When he invented the infinite scroll, it was just to make people's life easier, to avoid pressing on a button, but not making people addicted to their phones. At the end, what you're trying to do is your job. Our brains are lazy. We are naturally lazy. The less effort we make, the better we feel. Our brains love simplicity. As soon as they can, they take shortcuts. They won't put in more effort than needed. And if they can reuse previous actions, they absolutely will. This is where certain services have found their way in. They've given us a quick, easy, and often free solutions to many of life's little frustrations. GPS for navigation, streaming for entertainment, cameras to capture memories, and social media to connect with others. It's now to the point where it takes less energy to text than to talk. I admit I delegate a lot of things to my phone. Even things I didn't think were possible, I do. But it's a mistake. Basically, the more I delegate to my phone, the more I weaken my brain. In a way, the brain is just a big muscle, and if we stop exercising it, it becomes weaker. When we delegate tasks to our phone instead of doing them ourselves, we're taking the short-term approach. I say 5 minutes now, but we totally underestimate the long-term consequences. One of the best examples are photos. For a long time, I used to take photos of every moment of my life. I was so afraid of forgetting things, and I wanted to keep a piece of memory of everything. The result was that my photo gallery became so full that I had to buy a cloud storage. I had over 128 gigabytes of pictures of my life. But I realized that I never look at them. Worst, when I do, I barely remember any of those moments. I wanted to know why, and I searched online and I came across this study published in 2013 that explained that the more photos we take, the less we remember. And this is only one example, but personally, which frankly makes me think twice about delegating everything on my phone now. Living without a phone. Okay, I long blamed others. Technology for existing, social media for making me addicted, my phone for imprisoning me. At first, I was looking for the best weapon to attack them. I think that I was approaching the problem from the wrong angle. I didn't need a weapon, I needed a shield. As Amy Blanson says in her book, knowing that technology is here to stay, we need to learn how to live with the complexity of technology, not escape from it. Technology, phones, apps, all of it. It's not going to disappear anytime soon. So I think it's up to us to change. By reading a lot of books, watching conferences, and reviewing studying, I found 5 key skills to develop in order to live without relying too much on my phone. Step 1. Embrace boredom. I hate being bored. No, really. I feel bad, I feel useless, and I feel stupid. All because I'm not actually doing anything. And yet, that's probably when I am the most productive. Hear me out. While you are doing nothing, your brain is running at full speed. The fact is that biologically, we are not designed to absorb knowledge limitlessly and especially all at once. Our brains need to digest information for it to be truly understood and acquired. And being bored gives the time and space for our brain to do this work. It is best to impose brief breaks on yourself. Brief mental breaks will actually help you stay focused on your tasks. Okay, but how can I get bored in 2024? Honestly, everything around me is so stimulating and within reach. But actually, I discovered that it was a mentality to adapt. You need to fall in love with slow activities. For me, walking helped a lot. Just going out and taking long, endless walks to sort of things. No iPhone in the pocket and no headphones on my ears. And gradually, I got used to the quiet, to being alone and doing nothing. And over the time, I started feeling better after every walk. And actually, it helped me to be more creative and have more ideas than if I had just been scrolling through Instagram. Because I've learned to get bored. But more importantly, I've learned to enjoy getting bored. And that leads me to the second point. Step 2, live slowly. Living slowly is somewhat a continuation of all of this. It's about accepting not wanting to do a lot of things, not filling every minute of my time with ultra-stimulating activities. And I came across the notion of slow. The slow web dates back to 2013. It's the idea of pushing us to consume a web that gives us pleasure and makes users happy. Basically, it's refusing the dictates imposed by the big platform and just consuming more beneficial content in the long term. This is really something I love because slow web is not an apology for disconnection, but the heart of managing one's internet use well. And as Carl Honore explains, the slow philosophy isn't about doing everything at a snail's pace, but about seeking to do everything at the right speed to savor the hours and minutes. Step 3, believe in yourself. I admit, I don't really trust myself anymore. When someone asks me for a direction, even I know where it is, how to get there, I finally managed to need to use a GPS to reassure myself. In fact, all of these services know that they are gradually transforming us. Initially, it's just a matter of convenience. It's faster to launch the GPS than think about the way to take. You just have to follow the road. No preparation, no possible mistakes. And gradually, we get used to it. We think we can no longer find a way in space without a GPS. So we become truly dependent on the tool because we doubt ourselves and our capabilities. We need to train our brains to regain their independence and to develop skills that they might have lost. Step 4, controlling your time. Do you know what 1,440 minutes represents? That's the amount of time we all have each day. Not a minute more, not a minute less. And you can't save it. Once it's spent, it's gone. It's the most valuable resource we have. For many businesses, it's also what they make more richer. And today, we have multi-billion-dollar apps fighting to extract as much time and attention from us as they can. And they are not going to stop. So, in my opinion, the number one skill to learn in this decade is how to protect our time and attention from these services. It's up to us to draw the red line, and screen time rules can be invaluable help for this. Like I love to say, it's my phone, so it's my rules. I don't want to be my phone slave, it's just an object after all. So to stay in control, I use the app Jomo. I started working on Jomo because the native screen time settings were not working for me. And honestly, this has been really made to work? Why is there big in your button more visible than the others? And you know what? I think I've used that in your button and don't lie. You probably have too. I needed something more robust. In fact, beyond just blocking after a certain time, what I was missing was also the encouragement and the invitation to do something else. When you spend over 5 hours a day on your phone, initially you definitely need a bit of advice. On Jomo, when you reach your limits, well, it's blocked. But you also get recommendations, and frankly, it really makes you appreciate disconnected. Immediately see the potential benefits. And this brings us to the last point, which I must admit that took me some time to accept. Step 5. Appreciating the Jomo. I had to accept being an outsider, and I wasn't going to invest time on certain apps and finally accepting to leave my phone at home, not using it for anything. I often come across as a fool who is obviously missing out. But you know what? In fact, which of us is more foolish? The one who gives all their time to the web giants, or the one who enjoys their life? Consuming less, consuming better can make us feel out of the norm. And for good reason. Everything is designed to make us more and more dependent. But it's important to know that being more minimalist is not about depriving oneself. It's about doing things with more moderation, more consciously, asking essential questions before anything. Do I really need this? What will this bring me? It's been a little over a year since I decided to be more minimalist in my everyday life. And I must say that I never felt so free. I feel no pressure, my mind is uncluttered, my living space is very simple. But if you're interested, there is a great documentary on the subject on Netflix that I couldn't recommend more. Okay, that was intense. To keep it short, the main point is that it's almost impossible to live without a phone. But it's important to control the space it occupies in your life. This applies to your mental, emotional, and even physical space. Personally, I can't imagine living without my phone. At first, it was because services and society convinced me I couldn't. But now, it's because I see only benefit from it. Anyway, if this video has been able to help even a small percentage of us, I will continue to share my ideas and adventure. Feel free to support me with a like or just subscribe to the channel if you're interested. Thank you for watching and take care.